If your ClickUp looks anything like this, you're not alone, and it's not your fault. Many businesses think they have the right structure set up with spaces, folders, lists, as they should be, but there is where they go wrong. A wrong structure gets a wrong foundation. That makes things complex and hard to scale. Also, ClickUp just added a brand new level to its hierarchy called Subfolders, which means if you set up your workspace more than a few months ago, your structure is probably already outdated. I'm Hina from IT Visionist. I'm a ClickUp Services partner and have restructured over 200 workspaces for service businesses and teams. And the hierarchy is where almost every single one of them went wrong. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you every level of the hierarchy, including the new subfolders, exactly when to use each one, how access works at each level, where your custom fields belong, and where your automations should live. By the end, you'll have a decision framework you can use immediately. And we'll spend extra time on subfolders because that's a level most people haven't seen yet. Let's get into it. The workspace is the top of everything. It's your company. Every space, every folder, every task, it all lives inside here. The most important thing to know about workspaces is you only need one. I'll say that again. You almost certainly only need one workspace. I see businesses create multiple workspaces thinking it helps them separate things. It does the opposite. Separate workspaces can't share tasks, can't share members easily, and they break your reporting completely. The only valid reason for multiple workspaces is when you run two completely separate companies with no overlap, different brands, different billing, different teams, or you are a ClickUp consultant setting up workspace for various clients. Otherwise, stay in one. Your workspace is where you get global settings, member, permissions, billing, and integrations. It's a foundation. Don't overthink it. On the access side, this is where you manage every member, guest, and admin across your entire company. For custom fields, technically you can create them here, but don't. They'll clutter every single space with fields that don't apply. And automations aren't available at the workspace level. They only need to be set one level down. Spaces are the first real organizational level, and they are the one that sets the tone for everything below. Think of a space as a department or major area of your business. Common spaces can be client projects or delivery, internal operations, business development, process library. Each space has its own setting, its own statuses, its own custom fields, its own views, its own members. That's the key. When you create a space, you're saying, work in this area operates differently from the work in other areas. The question to ask before creating a space is, does this area of work have meaningful different statuses, workflows, or team members compared to the rest? If yes, it's a space. If not, it probably belongs inside an existing space. Here's what I mean in practice. A client project space might have statuses like onboarding, active, in review, completed, paused. Your finance space might have statuses like draft, pending approval, approved, paid. These are completely different workflows, so they live in different spaces. Access-wise, this is your first real control point. You can make a space private so only certain people can see it exists. It's great for finance or leadership. Custom field set here apply to everything inside the space, so use this for fields that are truly department-wide. And automations here are your broadest rules. They fire across every folder, subfolder, and list inside, so you need to be careful here. Inside a space, you have folders. Folders are the project or program layer. In a client's project space, each client might be a folder. In an operations space, you might have folders for processes, HR, and tech stack. In business development, you might have folders for sales, marketing, and more. Folders are optional. You don't have to use them, and that's where a lot of confusion starts. ClickUp lets you put lists directly into a space without a folder, which is fine for simple setups. But as soon as you are managing multiple clients, multiple projects, or multiple teams, folders become essential for keeping things grouped. Folders can have their own statuses that override the space default, so HR as a folder within operations has a different workflow than tech stack. So it should not use the space statuses, but have customized for its own. So here I'm just using a pre-saved one for the demo purpose. You can see that this is not the one inherited from the space. It is the one that I've already customized and saved. So once I apply it, it will apply to the HR folder. And that will be different from the tech stack and others in the same space. Two more things worth knowing here. First, you can restrict a folder to specific people, even if the space above it is open to the whole team. Second, custom fields. Any field you add at folder level applies to every list inside it. So if there is a field that's specific to this project, but not the whole department, this is exactly where it belongs. The question you ask, does this script of work have its own project identity, a name, a client, a campaign? That needs to stay together, then it's a folder. On the screen, you can see how you can set up custom fields at the space level, at folder level, or list level. Now, the new addition, subfolders. Subfolders were just released to most of the ClickUp users, and I want to be honest with you about what they are and what they are not. A subfolder sits inside a folder. It groups lists together within a project. Here's a simple way to think about it. Imagine you have a folder for a large client. Inside that client folder, you are managing 3 different work streams: their website, their CRM setup, and their onboarding process. Each of those is substantial enough to need its own group of lists. That's a subfolder. Before subfolders, you had 2 options. Either flatten everything into one folder and deal with the messy sidebar, or create separate folders per workstream and lose the grouping under the client. Subfolders solve that problem. Now here, I have a folder called branding that is having 2 subfolders, one for YouTube channel and the other for rest of social media. Each of them have their own workflows and automations. However, once a YouTube video goes live, the lists amongst these folders have automations to convert the long-form YouTube content into other social media. Subfolders have their own statuses, their own automations, their own permissions, just like a folder. And you cannot create a subfolder inside another subfolder. The nesting is one level deep only. Because subfolders have their own permissions, you can give a specific workstream a different team without touching the rest of the client folder. And any custom fields you set at subfolder level apply to every list inside it. So if one workstream needs fields, the others don't, set them here, rather than pushing them up to the folder. The question to ask before using a subfolder is, do I have multiple distinct work streams inside one project, each with their own list that needs to be grouped? If yes, use a subfolder. If your project only has a handful of lists with no clear subgrouping, skip it. Don't add hierarchy just because you can. Every level you add is a level someone has to navigate. Now, this is a wrong practice of adding subfolders when they can just be lists or even tasks within a list. No reason to split them. The subfolders here add 0 value and just make the sidebar harder to read. More hierarchy is not better hierarchy. The right hierarchy is better hierarchy. Lists are where the actual work lives. A list is a workflow, a collection of tasks that move through the same set of statuses. Every task must live in a list. You cannot have a task without a list. That's why understanding lists is so important. Good example of lists can be active client task, blog post, leads pipeline, queue to campaigns. Each of these is a workflow with a defined set of stages. Lists have their own statuses, their own views, like board, calendar, Gantt table, and their own automations. They inherit from the folder or space above them by default, but you can override at the list level. This is also where your custom fields and automations do most of their work in practice. Fields set at list level only apply to tasks in that specific workflow. No bleed into anything else. So if your leads pipeline needs a deal value field that your blog post list does not, set it here. And automations at list level are your most targeted rules. Things like when status moves into in review, notify the reviewer. Firing only within this one workflow. For access, lists can also be made private if you have a workflow only certain for specific people that should be using it. The question to ask is, do the tasks here move through the same stages together? That's a list. If you're finding yourself constantly filtering to separate 2 types of work inside one list, that's a signal that you need 2 lists. One thing I always tell my clients is, don't use too many lists. I see workspaces with 40 lists when 8 would do the work. More lists means more navigation and more confusion. Within the list, you have tasks. Tasks are the unit of work. Each task represents one deliverable, one action, and one thing that needs to get done. A good task has a clear name that describes the outcome, not the activity. Inside a task, you have custom fields, assignees, due dates, descriptions, attachment, comments, time tracking, and more. Those custom fields were defined up at the list, folder, or space level. The task is simply where your team fills them in. You can't create new fields types on a task itself. On the access side, individual tasks can be made private, that is visible only to the assignee and watchers. This is useful for sensitive action items where you don't want to restrict the whole list. And automations aren't something you set at task level, but everything you set above gets triggered by what happens here. A status change, a due date arriving, an assignee being added, so all can be done at the task level. Subtasks are tasks within a task. Use them when a task has multiple distinct steps that need to be tracked individually, especially when different people own different steps. The important thing about subtasks is that they are powerful, but they can get out of hand. If a subtask is becoming substantial enough to have its own subtask, or if it would be clearer as a separate task in a list, pull it up. Subtasks should be simple action items, not mini projects. They inherit access and custom fields from their parent task and list. There's nothing separate to configure at that level. And a quick note, checklists. Checklists are inside tasks. They are for simple to-do items that don't need individual tracking or due dates. If it just needs a checkbox, use a checklist. If it needs tracking, use a subtask. All right, you have seen all 7 levels, and you have seen how they are at every single level. The same 3 things follow the same logic: access, custom fields, and automations. The higher up you set them, the wider they apply. The further down you go, the more targeted they become. Keep that in mind. It will make everything else in ClickUp click into place. Now here's the framework I use with every client when they're asking, what level should this be? Ask yourself these questions in order. Is this a completely separate area of business with its own team and workflow? If yes, it's a space. If no, keep going. Is this a major project or client that groups multiple related workflows together? If yes, it's a folder. If no, keep going. Does this project have distinct work streams, each containing multiple lists? If yes, it's a subfolder. If no, skip subfolders entirely. Is this a workflow or collection of tasks moving through the same stages? If yes, it's a list. If no, keep going. Is this a unit of deliverable work? If yes, it's a task. If no, keep going. Does this task have multiple distinct steps owned by different people? If yes, subtask. If no, it's a checklist. I want to be honest about something. There's no single right answer for every business. A 3-person consultancy and a 50% SaaS company will structure their ClickUp differently, and that's correct. The framework gives you the logic. Your business context gives you the specifics. What I will say is this. The most common mistake I see is over-engineering the hierarchy from day one. Start with fewer levels than you think you need. You can always add a subfolder layer later as you grow. It's much harder to clean up a hierarchy that's too complex than to build up one from something simple. The goal is to use a minimum number of levels that give you clarity without adding complexity. If you looked at your own ClickUp during this video and thought that's messy, that's your sign. I do workspace audits for service businesses, and the link to book a call is in the description. Most of my clients see the difference within few weeks. If this video was useful, please do subscribe. I post practical ClickUp and business systems content regularly. Leave me a comment on what level of hierarchy do you find most confusing. I read every one and I'll answer yours. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.